Kumar, welcome to my series on functions. We'll try to understand domain range of quadratic functions in this particular video. Now here's a question for you, which is, what is true about domain range of quadratic functions? Four options are: domain and range has no restriction. B, domain will have restriction. C, range will have restriction. D is none of the above is true. So I'd like you to pause the video and answer this question. Now here is how we should think about quadratic functions. So whenever we say quadratic function, then we mean that the equation is kind of y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c, which could also be written as something like ax minus b whole square plus q, right, in the vertex form. And the graph of the function will be a parabola. Now, as far as the graph is concerned, this graph of parabola could open up or could open down. Right? So depending on this, whether the graph opens up or down, we have restrictions on range. So that gives us restrictions on range. So the answer here is that range will have restrictions. So you could have a graph of a parabola which could be opening upwards, kind of like this, for example. Now in this case, you know, that is the absolute minimum. So it is y greater than equal to this value. Or you could have a graph which could be kind of like this, for example, which will have absolute maximum. So in this case, we'll say y is less than equal to this value. Let's say this value is b, right? So there is a restriction. Do you see that? However, we know that domain has no restrictions. So x belongs to real numbers. That is for domain of all parabolas or quadratic functions. So I hope that concept is absolutely clear. And you also know that it opens up if a value is negative, right? So if a value is less than 0, opens up when a is greater than 0, and opens down when a is less than 0. A is negative, it opens down. Now based on this, we have a few questions for you. Now here is the very first question, which is straight. Domain and range of y equals to 1 minus 2 x minus 3 whole square is what? Now clearly domain is all real numbers. That is correct. How about range? Now you have to decide what happens to this parabola. So this minus 2 means opens down, right? So it opens down, and what is the maximum value? Maximum value is the number here, 1. So 1 minus something, right? This is square, it is always positive. So maximum value is 1. If x is 3, then this part is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. So that is how this function is. And as it opens down, you could think about a parabola kind of like this, whose value here on the vertex is going to be 3, 1, right? So clearly, maximum, absolute maximum, I should write, is 1. And therefore, option C is the right option, right? So domain is x belongs to real numbers, and range is y is less than equal to 1. Clear? Now we have another question which is very much related. Find domain and range of y equals to x squared plus 2x plus 3. Again, options are given. range, you need to figure out. Domain is all real numbers. We know that since it's a quadratic function. And we also know, since this is positive, that this graph opens upwards. We need to figure out what is the vertex. Now to find the vertex, you have to complete squares, right? So you have to do completing squares. Now this is most important skill which you should know for answering such questions, right? So let's do that. So y equals to x squared plus 2x plus 3. Now in this case, leading coefficient is 1, so we just add and subtract half of this number 2. So we get x squared plus 2x plus 1 square minus 1 square plus 3. Now this could be written as first three terms form a perfect square, so it could be written as x plus 1 whole square, right, minus 1 plus 3, which is x plus 1 whole square plus 2. Now that gives us the vertex, which is at minus 1 and 2. So clearly the least value here is 2, and therefore option B is the right option. You see that? So that is how you're going to answer such questions. So when you're working for quadratic equations, then remember domain is always x belongs to real numbers, no restrictions. However, as far as range is concerned, you need to complete squares and then answer, right? As we did in this particular example, if the equation is not given to you in vertex form. So I hope that part is clear to you, right? So that's how you should be doing. So as a test question, you can take y equals to minus 2x squared plus 6x minus 3 as your example, and write down domain, you know, is all real numbers, and range for this particular function. Since it is negative, we are saying y is less than equal to some value which you need to find, correct? Which you need to find. There's one more formula which is minus b by 2a, which I should give you here, but I want you to practice completing squares. So in general, let me write down here, in general, equation is y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. If a is positive, then the y value should be greater than equal to minus b over 2a. Is it okay? For a greater than 0. Is it okay? But if a is negative, then y is less than equals to minus b by 2a when a is less than 0, right? So that should be the general equation for range. So I hope that is clear now, right? So when you complete the squares, that is what you're going to get the y value of the vertex. So I hope that helps. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. We'll take a few more functions to understand domain and range of those functions. Thanks for watching and all the best.